Telling our stories is the connective tissue of the collective human experience. The Just Keep Talking podcast delves into the lives and stories of artists. What is the impact of mental health on creativity? What does it mean to be a creative individual? Someone who feels deeply, experiences joy and pain intensely, and navigates the challenges of life through the creative process. With each story shared, we explore the authentic experience of our basic need to be seen, to be heard, and to belong. We're really not so different from one another, nor are we alone. Together, we can inspire, encourage, and enlighten each other to find the true joy and fulfillment that is within ourselves. When we just keep talking, we create the space for gratitude, self-acceptance, and grace in everyday life. In a world filled with divisiveness, fostering inclusivity and connection is a powerful way to make a positive impact. The Just Keep Talking podcast with me, Brother Love, because your story matters.
There's nothing better than a big old... Because you can't have funk music without a little fun. Whew, you just caught me grooving. My name is Ryan Madora, and I'm here to teach you about the fundamentals of bass playing, because bass is awesome.
Hello and welcome to the Just Keep Talking podcast. My name is Brother Love, and your story matters. I am here today with Ryan Madora, bassist, writer, educator. I'm going to call you just Groove Master. Hello, Ryan.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
I am so thrilled that you're here. We have known each other sort of peripherally for some time now. You know my wife, Sarah Tomek, the famous Sarah Tomek, as I refer to her on this show. And she's been saying, you got to get Ryan in them vibes. We got to play shows together. And I'm like, that would be great. We just don't have many shows going on, so there was no reason to call. It almost happened a few months ago, and it didn't for whatever reason. But I see you on the scene. You're a bass player that is just incredible. You play with so many people. You work with ZAYN, Jenny Lewis, Robben Ford, Allison Russell, Molly Tuttle, Bobby Bones and the Raging Idiots, Lamont Dozier. So many folks that you've played with. You're practically famous, and I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you so much. Famous in my own little world. I think, I just have been really grateful to be able to have a lot of opportunities musically and bounce around and do things and, keep pushing on. We all have these like bucket list things that we want to do in our lives. And, I'm trying to make it through the list.
Yeah. Well, we were catching up off mic and you do so many things. You're a player, but you're more than a player. You're a writer. You have a book out, Bass Players to Know, Learning from the Greats. You wrote a book. You do more things in your lifetime. How old are you?
I'm 38.
You've done more at 38 than I'll do in double my lifetime, right? That would be 108 for me. I'm 54 now. I'm really enamored by your career. You're an educator. You teach online courses. You've done Victor Wooten's Bass Nature Camp, Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, Musicians Institute, Guitar Craft Academy. Ryan, you were voted the 6th best bassist of 2020 according to Bass Player Magazine and Music Radar. Did you know that?
I did. Yes, I did. I was shocked.
I took it off your website, so I know you do know that. So who were the 5 before you?
I don't know who the 5 before me were, but I do know that I beat out Lee Sklar.
Wow.
So I think Lee Sklar came in 8 and I was 6th. So I was like, you know what? If I can beat out Lee Sklar at anything, which is, there's some of these things, it's just like end of the year polls or whatever it is. Yeah. I felt more accomplished at that than anything else. I don't really care about numbers 1 through 5, but I'm like, all right, I came in 6th and Lee Sklar was number 8.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is just so cool. So I saw you perform last night. Right? We are in November. This episode will come out in November, so we're very current and up to date. You were performing a showcase with Denisha,
yes,
who was on this very show a long time ago. I've known Denisha for many years now, and she's fantastic. She has joined Them Vibes. We did a tribute to Lucinda Williams a few years ago at the Basement East. We did Car Wheels on a Gravel Road in its entirety. Lucinda Williams came to the show. She danced. She cried. It was probably one of the highlights of my musical career. We had guests galore on this show, Them Vibes, Alex and I. And Denisha, she finished off the show. She was the last singer, and she brought the house down. And she is angelic in her voice. She is a deep spirit. She's got a little South in her because she's from the Houston area, but she's got that Northeast in her because she lived in New York City for a long time. And you were fantastic last night.
Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. How have you played with Denisha before?
No, this was the first time. And, she had reached out to me a long time ago about possibly doing a show, and it didn't work out. And then when she started putting this showcase together, she reached out to me again, thankfully. And I was like, oh yes, I can finally do it. Yeah. So it just kind of worked out, and it was great. And, she's the kind of artist you like playing behind in the sense that, like, she's very clear about what she wants, and, she's very good at leading rehearsals and sending like good emails. Like, her admin work was excellent. We all knew what to do. She put a great band together, and it was just like the kind of show you are excited to play.
Well, I like that we're going right here, right now, because you are a gun. You're a hired gun. Right? You're not in a band necessarily, and like full-time band. My wife is a hired gun. I chose to be an artist and the lead singer of a band, Them Vibes. And my wife always says, when I'm not as busy as I'd like to be, she says, well, you chose artist. And I said, yeah, okay. Because I'm not getting hired to be the lead singer of somebody else's band, right? I'm the lead singer of my band. Right. I play percussion and I sing background vocals, and I love to do that. So if you hear of anything there, let me know, Ryan. Okay?
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Yes.
But being a gun, what was it like? Because you don't know Denisha very well. So tell us what it's like to be a gun, a bass player gun, in Nashville, Tennessee, in this particular instance, because I saw the end result. But take us through the beginning and how we get to the show.
Of course. So it all starts with a text. Like, that's what it is. You get a text from somebody and they're like, hey, I've got this show coming up, and, here are the details. It's this date. And that's something that she was very good at doing. And it's almost like, what's the opposite of a red flag, a green flag?
Right.
To me, a green flag is when I find out information from somebody that's very clear about what they're doing. They're saying, hey, I have a show. It's at this place on this date at this time. We're going to do this long of a set. I can pay you this much. And it's an easy thing to say yes to. Mm-hmm. Sometimes as a hired gun, you kind of get, little feeler texts like, hey, are you available in October?
Right.
You're like, what does that mean?
Right.
So for one thing, like, I appreciate when an artist kind of reaches out to a hired gun and like gives you all the info that you can make an easy answer to, like you can very easily say yes. So it all starts with that. And then I'm like, yes, great, I'm available. I would love to do it. She had mentioned that she got my name from Derek, who is the drummer. Mm-hmm. And that's fantastic. Derek Phillips is one of the best drummers, period. Yeah. Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter when, one of the best drummers, period. We've worked together a lot over the years. We've played in Robben Ford's band together. We've done records together. He's played, like, I've hired him. My husband and I produce records together, and he's played on a couple of those. So he's just like a great friend and an incredible drummer. And it's really common when people are putting a band together to find out like what rhythm section works. So usually they'll reach out to a bass player and ask like, oh, is there a drummer that you like to play with? Or reach out to a drummer, say, oh, is there a bass player you like to play with? So as a hired gun, it's kind of really important to have your friends within your rhythm section, like drummers that you like to work with, other bass players that are in the same kind of world as you are, so you can recommend good people to each other. And so that kind of is a really big catalyst in terms of like getting work, where it's like, oh, if you have a good relationship with drummers and they know that like you've got a good feel, you come prepared, all that stuff, then that's another green flag.
Right. Yeah.
And so he recommended me to Denisha. She hit me up about it. I was able to do it. And then she sent the music. And then my job is basically knowing, okay, we have rehearsal on this date. I have the music. Let me get to work. Mm-hmm. And to me, the very first thing that I do is try to prioritize like, hey, I have to learn the material and I have to show up to rehearsal like I could play a show that day if I had to.
Right.
So
whenever, that's good. I haven't always had that in my experience,
right?
Especially with bass players. Just saying.
But that's the whole thing. Like I know a long time ago, somebody mentioned to me that like your reputation gets there before you do. And so I always keep that in mind. And I always know that everything that I do is a reflection of my work ethic, and that people will say things when you're not in the room and say like, oh, you should call this person because, they come prepared or they're on time or they know what they're doing. Like all that stuff, like that, all that information gets shared before you get in the room. And one of the things that I pride myself in is coming and being prepared so that when I get there, they're like, oh yeah, you're exactly who we thought you were.
Wow, that's great.
So for me, it's like, okay, get the music, write charts, learn it, and then also go into a rehearsal with the flexibility that like things might change. You get into a room and you realize like, the artist might shape the song in a certain way. So like, oh, I know that on the demo it did this thing, but I'd rather the band come in here, or let's just do this, or actually can we play this louder and with more intensity? So part of that is like learning the first version of the music and then understanding how it adapts when you get into rehearsal with it, and then practicing to that, and then showing up day of show being like, all right, let's do the thing.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the flow of how that works.
Wow, you're a great listener.
Oh, thank you.
I watched you last night at the performance, and I watched you listen. I think listening is the greatest gift. I truly do believe that. And I watched you listen and be very present, and you played your parts. You had a good time doing it, and you were very solid, and it was great. I mean, I could kind of tell that the band wasn't necessarily the touring band, because I know Denisha, and I know that she tours with whomever she can and all that. So this was maybe more of a put-together band for the showcase that might lead to more gigs and all that, I would hope. I
hope so.
Hope so. But Nashville is just that good. I mean, you were the killer guns that were invited. Did you know that you performed a song that I co-wrote with Denisha?
I did not know that. Which one?
Oh, which one would you think? No, it was Texas Angel.
Oh, wow. What a great tune.
Thank you.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, thanks. I got a phone call from Denisha earlier this week, and she said, I love the song we wrote, and I'm going to cut it. I'm going to perform it at this performance. So what a great day that was to hear as a songwriter that somebody that you admire, an incredible artist, is going to cut one of your songs, which is really cool. And you played it magnificently.
Oh, thank you so much.
I had never heard it fleshed out with a band. It was just all I had was a work tape from my living room. And it was fabulous. Great job.
Thank you. I mean, that was so fun. I loved it because it was so, the whole set in general, like Denisha's vibe is so like classic country. And whatever you're doing musically, if you jump around from different genres, you kind of have to play to what that genre is.
Yes.
And so like the role of country bass playing, classic country bass playing, to me is something that is like, you do the right thing.
Right.
You don't do you. You just do the right thing for the music, and it's very much a feel thing. There's like a long like classic history of what country rhythm sections are.
Yeah.
And for this particular kind of music, my job is to be like, oh, can I represent country bass playing in the right way?
You did it fabulously.
Thank you.
I've said it before. There are a few people in Nashville that I consider the greatest sources of true country music, and Leah Blevins to me is one of them. And Denisha is the other one of them. And I find it, I don't know, crazy, ironic, sad, funny, happy. There's so many emotions that a queer woman of color, to me, represents country music at its finest. And she's getting the recognition that she deserves, finally. The Black Opry has given a lot of love on her. Record labels were there because I'm friends with some executives. I will say the president of a record label that I'm friends with was there, and she loved the show. What does that mean? Who the heck knows? But I've been waving the Denisha flag for so long, and I can't imagine how difficult it is, because it's like, hey, if you just were to close your eyes and listen, you'd be like, this is the greatest country music, today. I mean, this is some of the best that today has to offer a young country artist. And then you open your eyes and you go, well, she's queer, she's a woman, she's of color. Being a woman yourself, do you find this to be still an uphill battle and a challenge day in and day out, especially in the world of country music? Like, you did country music justice, but I've been in Nashville for about as long as you have. You came in 2012?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I was here a few years earlier than that, and I've seen country radio and country music not give the love to women, not give the love to anybody of color or anybody who's queer or just different. As they would say. So how does that translate for you? That was a big mouthful that I just had. But,
yeah, I think it's a thing I think about a lot.
Yeah.
I
hope so.
Because I think that there's a difference between what we consider more like classic country, which is this art of storytelling, and this art of, like kind of like capturing the essence of life and the hardship that we endure and the way we can overcome those things.
Yeah.
And then we have what's become this more modern country, which is a lot more like lifestyle. It's more like drinking and partying and being with your bros and farming and things like that. And, like that appeals to a certain audience. But I think that the intention behind it is a little bit different. And then when it comes to like the industry, I think that there's a huge discrepancy between the people that are making what we consider more like real or classic country music and what is being played on the radio. And there's like a lot of famous stuff about the fact that like, you know, you look at who's being played on the radio, and for every 10 male artists, there's one female artist or something like that. Like there are a lot of things surrounding the notion of like how much women get played on the radio versus men.
Yeah.
And the way that kind of translates down to like where I am as the hired gun is the fact that one, most country artists are male. And they want to have all male bands, and they want to be on the road, and it's a bunch of guys, and that's the vibe. And so most bands don't want to have a female in the band unless there's like more than one. Most of the time, it's very rare that I would get hired to play behind a male artist.
Right.
It just is. There have been a couple of exceptions to the rule, but in general, especially in the world of country, it's very unlikely that I would get hired to play behind a male artist. And then when it comes to female artists, sometimes they want an all-male band because they want to be the female in front.
Right.
Not always. You have a couple of people that are like, no, we want to have a more diverse band. But it is something in the back of my mind because everything like trickles down.
Yeah.
You know, so if you know that the artist is not going to hire certain kinds of players, you know you're not going to get those kinds of gigs. And, you know, I've been in Nashville for a very long time now, 13 years, and I've played with a lot of big country artists just as like, you know, somebody playing an Opry style show, but like backing them up. But like I wouldn't get hired in their bands necessarily.
Right.
You know, because it's one thing when you are in like a house band situation, you're backing up different artists, you know, versus like going on the road and being with an artist as like their main primary touring player. So there's that element of it. The studio scene is also like a tough nut to crack because, you know, Nashville is known for kind of like the good old boys, the people that have been playing on records since the 90s. And yeah, like those players are amazing and they're still playing on records. Yeah. So especially as like a younger female, like it's hard to kind of gain footing there.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I'm at the show last night and I'm ready to just like shame this record label exec. I was going to say, oh, what? You don't want to sign a woman of color in country music? Like loud, and maybe that would get her a record deal, you know? Of course, I would never do that. And by the way, we're friends. But like my wife, Sarah Tomek, has been going through this for years. We listen to records and she's like, I almost got the call to play drums on this, or I didn't get the call because it's a good old boys town. It's just the truth that she is one of the best drummers. Now she's finally getting calls, but it's really hard. It absolutely is. Who do you see that you admire in this business doing it the right way, quote unquote, as far as women equality and taking care of their own and not just doing it because, well, oof, we need to have color on this side, we need to have women on that side. Like, who do you admire in the business these days that you feel like are doing it right?
So the people that I admire are those that want to put a band together or a group of players together where it's really about creating the right group of people that work together well. I will say that like one of the artists I work with was Jenny Lewis and I had an incredible time touring with her and working with her. But when she decided to put the band together, she did a record called Joy Y'all, which he had done kind of like during and coming out of the pandemic. And she did it with Dave Cobb. And they did the record before she decided that she was going to tour with it, right? So she did the record and it was a little more like Nashville leaning, more Americana than the more pop stuff that she's done in the past. And she had a vision for what she wanted the vibe of this record to be, what she wanted the band to be like. And she's like, yeah, I want to put together an all-female band that has a really good chemistry and that like will represent this music well. And so she started with like all Nashville players and tried to find the right mix of personalities and ability to do that thing. And it wasn't because she was necessarily saying like, oh, I want to put together just like a female band. Right. It's like, I want to find the right players to put together this best kind of band. Yeah. And so the people that I admire are the artists that say, you know, I want to do this kind of band. And I want to get the chemistry going. And I want to find the right players that like make everything fit and that make the music better because they're working together. Yeah. So I admire people like that. I admire the people that give a chance to the people that aren't necessarily the ones in the rooms that are working in the studio all the time. Like I did a record. There's a producer named Paul Sykes, who's a great writer, producer in town, who works with an artist, May Estes. And he had called me to play on her past couple of EPs. And that's like a very rare thing for me to get to do because, you know, the other people in the room are the guys that are playing on the records all these days and they have been for many years. And so for me to be called to get to be in that room, that's a special moment. But he was like, yeah, like you have the pocket that we want to play on this record. Wow. And I was very honored to hear that and really wanted to, come in and do my best and prove that I was able to be in the room and hang with everybody else. And that's a great feeling. So kind of like the producers and the artists and the people that make the choices to do what's best for the music. It's part of it is diversifying, but a big part of it is saying like, oh, this is the feel that we want, or this is the personality that we want to make the music better.
Yeah.
Those are the people that I think are really doing the good work out there.
Yeah, Jenny Lewis is fantastic. Jess Nolan was in her band, and just the whole cast of characters. She does it right. I agree.
She does.
So you come from Philadelphia, Northeast.
Yes, I do.
So what was that like coming to Nashville for you? Was country music the thing that you wanted to do, or were you like, I just got to go to Nashville because that's where the work is? How did you get here?
So I didn't really know much about country music when I moved here. I kind of moved here because I had gone to school in New York, decided I didn't want to live in the city anymore.
Where did you live in the city?
I went to NYU, so I was downtown most of the time. And so I lived around Washington Square Park. I lived around Union Square for a year. I lived at 13th and Avenue B. I had an apartment there.
Wow. I had an apartment. It was on Avenue C between 10th and 11th for a while.
Great. Yeah.
But I lived, not to cut you off, I'm sorry, but East 5th Street between 1st and 2nd.
Oh, excellent.
My whole adult life. So you're speaking a language like I'm melting over here as you're explaining New York City. Go on, please.
So it was a wonderful time in my life. I had absolutely loved living in New York until the moment I didn't. I went to school and I was like a music business major, and I had a couple different internships, and at the end of my college time, I had the opportunity to take a full-time job with a company that I had been interning at. But I really didn't think it was the right thing for me.
Right.
It was like, this is not the path, know? And I was like, I could either stay in New York, work a full-time job, and not be able to play music, or see what I can do playing bass, know? And so I decided, I'm not going to take this job. I'm going to leave New York. I went back to Philly and kind of like practiced a lot. I practiced a lot. I played in all different types of bands. I played in like a top 40 cover band doing Atlantic City casinos. I was in a Zydeco band. I played like restaurants, bars, like whatever kind of like working musician gig you could do.
Yeah.
That's the kind of world that I was living in. I was like teaching at a music store, all that stuff. And then I went to this camp. So I've been involved in like a lot of like bass camps.
Yeah.
And there's a phenomenal bass player in the Philly area named Gerald Veasley. And he puts on this thing called Bass Boot Camp. And it's like a 3-day intensive that happens once a year. And I always went like first as a student of that. And then I kind of became like a junior instructor, and then now get to go back sometimes as a full instructor.
Wow.
But I had gone to that one year, and it was maybe 2 years or so after I had graduated from college and was in Philly working. And I sat down and was eating dinner with a couple of the other instructors who were Adam Nitty and Brian Beller, both phenomenal bass players, and both who happened to live here in the Nashville area at the time. And the two of them were like, Ryan, what are you doing with your life? And I was like, well, I'm doing these things. And they were both like, you should move to Nashville.
Wow.
And I said, okay, why? And they were like, well, you do the kind of playing that is respected there.
Ooh.
And the thing is that when you go to these bass camps, sometimes it's very like slappy and chop heavy and all jazz fusion. And there's a lot of that stuff. There's also a lot of like meat and potatoes, but I consider myself like that meat and potatoes player. Like I love songs.
Yeah.
I love playing for the songs. And I think that was kind of what that conversation was about, where they were like, hey, you're a very good player. If you move to Nashville, you might get to play on songs and do a good job at that, And so I was like, maybe I should move to Nashville.
Wow.
So a few months later, I just kind of booked a trip down here and came down with a friend who was over the age of 25, so we could rent a car. Because if you're under 25, you can't rent a car. So when I came down here, I was like 24. And I was like, oh no, I need somebody that can rent a car.
Why are we so friendly so fast? Well, it's funny you should ask. I need a ride.
So we have to go to Nashville and rent a car.
And you came to Nashville.
I came to Nashville. I spent like a week here. So this would be like fall of 2011. And I kind of just like bopped around a little bit. I was like, I don't know. Like I went to Music Row and I was like, it just looks like a bunch of houses.
Funny, right? Yeah.
Right? But it was cool. And then something in me said like, yeah, you know what? You should probably do this, because I went to different clubs. I went to like Bourbon Street, in Pruner's Alley, and just different places. I went to some writers' rounds at like Douglas Corner, like just different things. And I kind of took stock of what I was seeing, which was that like a lot of people that are very serious about music and very good at music and are in this community of other people who are serious about it and and good at it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yes, I am serious about it and good at it and want to be part of this community.
Wow. So what was it like for you to break in? Like, how did it feel? You're a woman, you're from the Northeast, you got Philly in you. I mean, us Northeasterners, we came down here swinging our dicks, man, I'll tell you. And it was cool because the band I was in got signed because we were so crazy and cool. Y'all are crazy. That's why they signed us. Y'all is just crazy. They're from New York. They're crazy. We're going to sign them. And then our impatience got us knocked off the label, literally, because we just couldn't understand how to play nicely. We didn't understand, keep writing, get better at your craft. It doesn't all just happen overnight. And our impatience and, bad attitudes of a few of the band leading people of the group got us dropped. And that's when I understood to get more involved in being better at this craft of music. Nothing is easy, but it's all here and we're surrounded by it and we have a community that is wonderful. So what was it like for you to knock on these doors here as a woman, as a bass player? What was that like?
I mean, a lot of it was just one, trying to be patient, which that is like one of my worst qualities is impatience.
Yeah,
like
man.
I want something to happen. I want it to happen fast. And it took a lot longer. I was very naive when I moved here because I was like, you know what? By the time I'm this age, I want to be on the cover of Bass Player Magazine, whatever, And I think that one of the things I've learned over time is being able to reframe what we think our goals are.
Yeah.
And so I think that when I moved here, I did quite a bit of that reframing where I moved here and was like, okay, the very first thing that I have to do is find a job and figure out how to make some money to pay my bills so that I can make music with people, right? And I moved here and really didn't know anybody. I found a place on Craigslist. I fortuitously moved here a month before they reopened Opry Mills Mall.
Yeah, because there was a big flood. I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the first 2 years I lived here, I worked at J. Crew at Opry Mills, folding clothes because I needed a job. And I came here with the notion that when I was in the Philly area, I was playing cover gigs 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And I'm like, I know that I can do that.
Yeah.
I did that up there. I made more money up there doing the same kind of thing. If I moved to Nashville, I'm not going to do that. I specifically came and did not really want to get into the Broadway scene very much.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do the 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. shift. And so for me, part of it was like, okay, let me see if I can have a job, get my bills paid, and then start to kind of go to places where I can meet people that are doing the kind of thing that I want to be doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up playing like soul, R&B, blues music. That's where I went to hang out. Like I went to Bourbon Street and went to the jam session there and got up and played. And I went to different places where people were doing the best of that music, and would try to seek it out. Sometimes there was a gig like the Taj Mahalics. I don't know if you've seen them,
sure.
But they used to play at this place called the Poorhouse. I went and saw them there a lot, but I just wanted to be around like really great players doing that thing, hoping that like maybe one day I would get a call when somebody called the 8 bass players that they knew and they were all busy.
Yeah.
But basically, if somebody invited me to something, I would say yes. If somebody said, hey, you should come out to this thing, I would do that. And people would be like, oh, this person's here. That's cool.
Yeah.
To just kind of like be present on the scene and start to be that face where you get multiple impressions. Like that's a big thing in like advertising and marketing and stuff is like it takes multiple impressions to, make a sale or to get somebody to need your product and remember that you're the one that sells it. Yeah. And not to be all like businessy and salesy about it, but
you have to be.
You have to be to some degree, And so like the notion of multiple impressions being the person that shows up, the person that likes what is happening musically, I think is really important. And then you kind of just have to be patient and like wait and get calls. And then every single gig, if you do it and you show up and you do it as well or better than the other people that would normally do the gig, then everybody remembers that. Yeah. And so I think that a big part of it is just kind of like finding the people that want to hire you because they want who you are as a player. And, it takes a long time to do that and it goes in waves. But I think that I was able to kind of find people that realize like, oh, Madora is serious. Yeah. She plays and she'll learn the songs and she'll show up on time and she'll have the right outfit and she'll, like all the little things that kind of make you hireable. And so I think that it was just like grinding away with gig after gig after gig, doing whatever, like in-town stuff, even like last minute sub gigs on a bus or something like that. You say yes to things even though you're like a little afraid to. Yeah. And you do different things. You learn a lot of material. Like when I first moved here, I like learned how to write charts. Yeah. And I probably learned 1,000 songs in the first couple of years that I lived here. Sure. Because I was just like, I need to be a professional song learner. Yeah. If you're a side person in this town, you are a professional song learner. Yeah. And I kind of just made that a big priority and found people that wanted to work with me and was really lucky to be able to say yes to some calls. And some of them turned it out to be like, hey, do you want to do this thing that you've always wanted to do? And the answer is absolutely.
Wow. What was one of your first breaks that you were like, wow, great, finally, 1,000 songs, I'm here, it's going to be okay?
The first big break, honestly, was probably when I got the call to do the Bobby Bones $1 Million show.
Wow. When was that?
So that is probably the top of 2015.
And you just got a call. Did Bobby call you himself?
No. So there's actually...
Mr. Bones' office?
There's actually a very funny story about that.
Please.
I remember exactly where I was when I got the call. I was actually at the Inglewood Kroger buying peas. Oh. Because the first couple of years that I lived here, I almost lived exclusively on pasta and peas because it was all I could afford.
Yeah.
And so I was at the supermarket buying peas.
Frozen peas.
Of course. Yes, as you do. And I got a call from a guitar player who said like, hey, I got your name from this drummer. Again, like, drummers and bass players are really important together. And they're like, hey, we're putting the show together. It's at the Ryman. And I'm like, oh, you're calling me?
Pick up peas on aisle 4. Yeah. Peas, they're all over the floor here, and this young woman is stomping on them. She's having a celebratory moment. Excuse me, miss, what's the problem? No problem. Go on.
No problem. But yeah, so she said like, hey, we've got this show that's happening. It's going to be the Bobby Bones $1 Million show at the Ryman. And the purpose of the show is really to raise funds and awareness for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Yeah, and the concept is to try to like raise $1 million for St. Jude's. So they were going to put a house band together, and it was going to be kind of like a band of ringers, like different artists come in and just do like a couple songs, very Opry style show, and just have lots of special guests to try to raise money for St. Jude's. And so apparently they had another person who was supposed to play bass, and his name was Ryan.
Wow.
And he bailed like 3 weeks or so before the show. And then the drummer was like, oh, I know another bass player named Ryan. And so then they called me.
They're like, we already put the name on the dressing room. This is easy. We already made the t-shirt. It says Ryan.
It says Ryan. The bass player's name is Ryan. The funny thing is that like the guitar player didn't tell the other people like Bobby or anything that there was a change.
No, yeah.
And
don't disrupt any of the higher brass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I show up and they're like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm Ryan, the bass player. And they're like, oh, you're not who we thought you would be.
Right. Oh,
you know?
Right on, yeah.
Because I think the other dude was like some really tall dude named Ryan.
Yeah.
Probably has like solid 1.5 feet on me or whatever. You know, I'm a small, very small person.
Yeah.
It was a very like, oh wait, this is the person that you hired to play bass. But you know, it was amazing. And thankfully I like did the show and got to prove that I was deserved to be there, that I was the right call. And it went off really well. And that kind of was the beginning of me kind of like working with Bobby Bones when he did his Raging Idiots band, and then serving as like a house band member, and then also as musical director for the past handful of years for the $1 Million show. And
is he still doing that show?
He has been. Yeah, we've done maybe 9 years or so.
This
Everything. We did it at the top of 2025. We did it basically every year except for maybe 2021 because of COVID. So,
yeah.
And the cool thing is like, yeah, I kind of got that break and got to play behind, you know, Carrie Underwood and like all these huge artists, you know, like Sugarland, all these, you know, incredible artists. Wow. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
And I remember standing backstage at the Ryman. There's a cool, like, you can walk behind the main...
Yes, the stage.
The stage, yeah, right? And I was walking behind the stage, and I took a minute and just kind of, like, collected myself and said, like, okay, like, you're doing this thing.
Yeah.
You're in Nashville, you're playing bass. Look what you've been able to do. And that was kind of the first moment where I was like, all right, like, I'll be okay. I can do this.
I mean, you hit a home run on your first try, pretty much.
I mean, this is a couple years in. This
Sure.
is like probably about 3 years in.
3 years in, but what a home run, and congratulations.
Thank you.
That's just so cool. I've played the Opry a bunch of times as a side person with Maggie Rose, and they were songs that I've written with her, so it was really amazing to be like, wow, singing background vocals to songs that I co-wrote with Maggie and Alex from Them Vibes. That's just incredible. The Ryman had eluded me, but I had been on the stage of the Ryman. A few reasons. Number one, I was catering and I was working a dinner on the stage. And I thought, gosh, I really want to perform on this stage. And then a few years later, my wife, Sarah Tomek, was playing at the Ryman. I believe it was with Samantha Fish, I think, or it was Joanne Shaw Taylor. I think it was Samantha Fish. And the Ryman is a union spot, right? So you don't touch anything, okay? For those of you listening out there. there, if you don't know, things get moved for you, things that are even yours. You don't touch anything. And Sarah was playing the drums and something was wrong. And I'm in the wings. And I can tell something's wrong because I can tell when my wife is angry, okay? She's my wife. And I'm a drummer as well. Something is wrong. And there are people everywhere that could help, and nobody is paying attention. Zero. Not one. And then she's really getting mad. She's looking down, she's looking left, she's looking right, and she's somehow still playing. And I'm like, she's getting mad. And I figured, screw it. And I run. I duck, like, so nobody can see me, as if nobody will see this guy running, fully dressed, like, nicely. Like, I'm not a hand. I'm me dressed for a night out at the Ryman. And I run out, and I know exactly what to do because I play drums. And she's like, my kick pedal. I'm like, okay, I got you. She's like, I need this. I'm like, I got it. I'm like, okay. And then I'm getting text messages like, hey, brother love, are you at the Ryman, like running across the stage, helping fix the drums? And I'm like, yeah, that's me, right? So I got to do that. But then finally this past year with Eric Church, I got to sing in the choir with Eric Church because he had a big choir for a bunch of performances. And I finally got to play on that Ryman stage. And so what a beautiful honor that is and was. I'm so thrilled that you got to do the same thing. Have you been on the long tours? Have you done the long bus ride tours and the flyovers and all that? I mean, I know you from in town, but tell me a little bit about your touring experience. Do you enjoy touring?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love touring.
Yeah.
If it's the right way. Touring can either be the worst, hardest thing you do, or it can be full of adventure and really exciting and you living your best life.
Right.
So it's
True, Ryan. That's yep, you check both boxes. It could be awesome or the worst. Yep.
It could be awesome or the worst. I prefer now to be in the awesome camp than the worst. But honestly, every tour has a little bit of both.
Yeah.
No matter what. I've done the 15-passenger van, drive to New Orleans in one shot, play a show and come back stuff.
Yeah.
I've done the like, hey, we're in a minivan and we're going across Colorado. So I've done a lot of like all the different kinds of touring you could do.
Yeah.
And then finally, I did work my way up to a bus and I really enjoyed doing the bus tour.
Yeah.
Everybody does a touring in a different way. Like when I was with Robben Ford, we were kind of in like a 15-passenger van, but like had shorter drives because the routing was good and we usually didn't have really long drives.
Yeah.
But I loved doing that. I have a philosophy that the perfect tour is between 14 and 17 days because it takes 3 shows to kind of get your bearings. So you're already in the tour maybe like 4 or 5 days for the first 3 shows. Then days 5 or 6 until day like 11 or 12, that's your sweet spot. You're in your shows. The band knows what to do. It's kind of like hitting harder and it feels really good. And then around day like 14 or so, people are like, oh, we've been doing this for 2 weeks and I've seen you people a lot. And you realize that you need some space and everything like that. So in my mind, I love touring, but I do think that the perfect tour is between 14 and 17 days.
My wife is away for 2.5 months, Ryan, and I'm hearing you say that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're at the halfway point. We're like a month in. She was home for about 10 hours this past week. She came home at 5 a.m., went to bed till 2 p.m. because she needed to rest. And then we went out and had a little bit of an afternoon. And then she was gone by 11 p.m. It's long and arduous. It's a great tour. She's on a fabulous tour with Andy Bell from the band Erasure. And it's one of those on and on and on and on and on. And it's tough. It really, really is. You found the sweet spot, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, that is an ideal world.
Yeah.
Most tours are not that.
Or not that. Well, have you done the Weekend Warrior deal?
I've done the Weekend Warrior deal. I've done like the fly dates where it's like, hey, you're on a the 6 a.m. flight to Houston, and then you're on the Sunday morning 6 a.m. flight back to Nashville type of thing, where you're going. It's like 2 days of really intense travel and 2 shows, and then you come home. So I've done that. It's okay. I prefer not to do that. I'd rather almost be gone for a longer stretch of time. I've done some tours that were like a month long or even like 6 weeks, and I really enjoy that as long as there's like, as long as people can take care of each other,
That's not easy.
It's not easy. And it really comes down to the artist too, like it's the artist and the management team. And if they do prioritize like letting the band have the space that they need and the rest that they need when there are off days and things like that, that's like a huge good green check, right? Like, I think that people that are aware of the fact that like people need rest and like people need to take showers, people need to eat good food. You know, I think the hardest part about touring is the people that you're with. If you're with people that are like, yeah, we're going to stay up late and we're going to stop and get fast food and we're going to just like not really find good shower rooms or hotels or anything like that, that's really challenging.
Yeah.
When you work your way up and you find yourself in a place where people are more willing to take care of everybody, where you do have a stocked green room and you do have a hotel room on your day off and you do have a place to take a shower and like collect yourself for a moment, those are the times when you can be most successful and not feel like you're being taken advantage of and not feel like you're without the creature comforts that you need to be healthy. And so if all of those things are kind of met, then I think that you can have a pretty good touring life. But it's really hard to be away. You know, it's like, it's hard. Like when my husband and I are away for long stretches when I'm on the road, yeah, it takes its toll. It's a challenge.
Yeah. And he's a musician in town. He's not touring, right?
He's not touring. He's a songwriter, and he also does like a lot of other stuff. He actually just wrote a book, and he does like digital marketing, and he is very talented and very intelligent, but also is very much like a homebody. So he'll stay home and hang out and everything like that. And so I think that when I'm on the road, it's a challenge because it's like, oh, well, you've got to do stuff for you.
Yeah.
While I'm out gallivanting around and having my adventures.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the guy that's at home now. I was touring forever, and I toured with my wife for a long time, and that was great. We toured separately. She was home, I was out. Now, these days, I'm not on the road. I'm not touring. And I find myself in a really heavy, hard headspace and heart space because it's more than just like loneliness. I don't mind being alone, and I enjoy my home time, and I enjoy the dogs and my life that I have here. But my general well-being and mental health has taken a lot of hits this year just because things are slower and just the way the world is. And I find it really hard to take care of myself and to be able to do that with my partner. You know, I have to take care of myself, and she has to take care of herself. And it's hard to connect. She spent most of this year in Europe, overseas, so the time difference is big. So it's been really challenging and really hard. How is your mental health these days and all? You seem very busy. When you came in here, you said, I was doing admin work. You have a book out. You teach. You gig. You do all these things. How is your general well-being these days?
I think it's okay because I have something coming up that I'm looking forward to.
Right.
I know that for me, the hardest thing is when I come off of doing the cool thing and I don't have another cool thing to look forward to.
Right.
And so for me, like, I like having something important on the horizon, and my mental health suffers when I don't have that. So like earlier this year, I did a tour with ZAYN, and it was really awesome. And we did
ZAYN from One Direction, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
that's a very huge, famous person. That must be really cool.
Yeah.
Do you eat well on this tour?
Yes.
You eat very well on this tour. Good for you. Do you get rest on this tour?
Yes.
Does ZAYN know your name?
Yes.
I'm kidding, but of course he knows your name. But
oh, yes.
That's really cool. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But go on.
Yeah. So the cool thing was we did this tour. We were in the UK for a few weeks at the end of 2024. We did some US shows early 2025. We did some shows in Mexico City, and then we were done. And so I came home, and it's like April 1st, and it was like, wow, I don't have any gigs. I don't have any tours to look forward to.
I think that's around the time where we met.
Doing? I think so, probably.
Because you were like, I'm home. And I was like, what's going on? What do you got coming up? Let's talk. Let's be on my show. And you were like, I'm home. And I was like, okay. But now I get it. You were like, no, I'm home.
No, I'm home. And so
Quiet.
that's one of the things about being a hired gun. Like you do a thing and then you don't.
Yeah.
Thankfully for me, that one thing that's been really helpful for my mental health, like I'm a workaholic.
Yeah.
So like if I'm not working until 10 p.m., I like feel guilty that I'm not working.
Wow. Good for you.
You know, so sometimes, like it's a good
Honey,
thing.
will you come to bed, please? It's sex time. That's what I say to my wife. I say, honey, is it sex time? And she's, oh, yeah, okay. All right. It's sex time. Yes.
Well, that's the thing though. Like I want to get up and I want to work, and I want to work late, and I have a lot of stuff to do.
Wow.
So if I don't have enough stuff to do, I like get a little antsy, I get a little bored, I get a little like, oh no, I think about my life too much.
Yeah.
So I find that the best thing for me to do is to keep busy. And one of the things that's been really helpful for me is I've built up this like teaching business, and I have a YouTube channel, and I have all these things that serve to occupy my time in a very big way when I'm at home.
Yeah.
So that if I don't have anything specific to learn music for or to prepare for tour wise, I at least have the ability to connect with people through music by teaching. I have things to do where it's like, oh, I got to plan these videos and I've got to shoot them and edit them and schedule them out and do all this stuff. So part of it is me keeping myself busy
Right.
with work that's important to me when I don't have the big artist thing to occupy myself. And then when I get something that comes along and I'm like excited, I'm like, oh, I can say yes to this and do this thing, then the sky gets a little brighter.
Yeah.
And it's a little more exciting. So for me, that's the thing. I know that I have to occupy myself with a lot of work just for my own like being. And then I also need to have something really cool on the horizon to look forward to. And if I don't have that, that's when things kind of start to get a little shaky.
Yeah, I hear you. Do you drink?
No.
You don't drink?
I am allergic to alcohol.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Always?
Well, I found out in college, which is a funny place to find out that you are allergic to alcohol. Basically, I have an enzyme deficiency where you don't metabolize alcohol well. So after most of freshman year of being quite ill and throwing up after drinking every night, I went to a doctor and I was like, doctor, I drink like a beer and then I get sick and throw up. And he's like, yeah, that's called college. And... And I was like, no,
You're 5 foot tall and you weigh nothing. Yeah, that's why.
But I was like, no, but like something's wrong,
Right.
because like I shouldn't throw up after like, I mean, you have 2 shots of cranberry Smirnoff, whatever, and you probably will throw up.
Just hearing that, I want to throw up. Hey.
Well, you get what you can from whoever you can get it from when you're 19 years old. So I actually did some tests and was like, oh, I have this enzyme deficiency. And that's been the greatest thing ever.
Wow.
One, I save so much money.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Oh, I'm a cheap date now that I quit drinking. Forget
Oh
it.
my gosh,
Great.
right? But 2, I never have to worry about driving home from a gig and being inebriated and like worried about getting stopped or anything like that. So it really has been a blessing in disguise. Sure, I would love to partake in that, but it's been something that has been absolutely helpful from a professional standpoint.
Yeah. Do you have anything in place that you do daily that it's like, I got to do this, this way it keeps me on the straight and narrow? I know you mentioned work and keeping busy in that way, but outside of the general work, is there like a meditation or gym or any other something that you do that you keep just for yourself? Do you have something just for you? Ryan Madora?
I do. Yeah, no, I mean, I love walking. Like, I love going for walks. My husband and I go, and most days we'll do like a long walk around the neighborhood for like an hour.
Nice.
And when I'm on the road, I spend a lot of time like walking and adventuring, especially when I'm on the road. Like, I love taking myself to museums and exploring. Like, if I'm not doing anything and I have 2 hours to kill, like, I will not be sitting in the venue.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I want to be out and about. And then when I'm at home, like I love working out and going to the gym. My husband and I have a pickleball date later this evening. I've gotten into pickleball because it's just so fun.
Yeah, you're already an old Jewish lady. How nice.
I know, right? I'm like not very good at it,
right?
But it's really fun. And it's honestly nice to have an activity where I'm not looking at my phone. It's like 2 hours away from my phone.
Yeah.
Interacting with other people, like succeeding and failing at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's something that I really enjoy doing.
That's so cool. My wife and I and some friends, we used to play tennis all the time. And then we stopped. And then we picked up pickleball because my dad and my stepmom played pickleball. My father, 80 years old, kicked all of our asses, 3 of us. I don't even know how. He had somebody on his side, his wife, my stepmom. He beat her too, even though he was on her team. He kicked all of our asses. On his 80th birthday, this son of a gun kicked our butts. He's very good at pickleball, I love the sport. I think it's great.
It's so fun.
Let's get to your book, okay? So you teach, which is amazing. Do you enjoy teaching before we get to your book?
I love it.
Do you love teaching?
Yes.
Now, what is it like to get a lesson from you? Like, how does one do that? Is it just as easy as I can just go to YouTube, which is what? What's your YouTube page?
It's just Ryan Madora Music.
Great. So if I just be like, let me go, and I'll scroll and be like, oh, I want to learn this today, or I want to learn that today. Or is it the type of thing where somebody says, okay, a private lesson with you on a Zoom call, or how does it work? What does it look like?
The answer is yes. Yeah.
Perfect.
I have a YouTube channel that, I try to make like certain playlists that have videos. So if you wanted to focus on, technique work, you can look at the technique playlist. If you want to focus on like blues bass lines, you can look at that list. So I have different lists that you can go to. It's linked to my Patreon. So like a lot of my videos, I post the lesson, and then if you want to get like tab and notation and backing tracks, I make those as like additional assets that people who want to support what I'm doing can go to Patreon and get that stuff, and also like, help me keep getting the gear I need to make better videos and all that stuff. Also, I do teach private lessons, so people will like just go to my website, send me an email. If I have room in my schedule, I send my packet of information, and people can just be like, all right, great, let's schedule something. So whenever I'm home, I teach a lot. That's kind of like my day gig in town, Monday Monday through Wednesday most of the time. Getting a lesson with me is, again, I focus a lot on the fundamentals and being a good bass player.
Yeah.
And there are like certain things you have to do to be a good bass player, which is that like you have to know basic theory, you have to know diatonic harmony, you have to have good technique, you have to know songs.
You gotta spit blood and fire too,
Yes.
right? Because
That is the thing
Isn't
too.
Gene Simmons one of the best bass players in the world? True or false?
Absolutely true.
All right,
Yes.
you see, I appreciate this. So you worked so hard, and then you created this book, Bass Players to Know. I want to start by asking you why the bass, and then we'll get up to why the bass player book. But why the bass for you?
I was not a great drummer.
Really?
Yes. I think to me, the bass is something that, you know how when you're in like 4th grade and you take the DARE program, they're like, don't smoke weed because it's a gateway drug and it'll lead to other drugs like heroin and meth.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, I kind of think that like you need gateway drugs to get you to bass.
Really?
Because very few people just say like, I want to play bass.
Yeah.
So like I kind of failed at a lot of other instruments. Like I played piano for a little bit and I played flute for 3 months and I played drums for a little bit. And when I was in like middle school and high school, like I played drums. I never got like a good drum part. I was very much not in the cool kid club. And yeah,
me too.
Shocking, right?
Yeah.
And so I kind of got very dissatisfied with my school music program and realized that like, wait a minute, I keep getting stuck with the triangle where you have to like wait to like bar 162 when you play one note. And I was like, I want to do something where I'm playing all the time. And then I started listening to records, and I grew up on like Motown, soul, R&B. Like that was my jam. Like,
yeah. Who's your favorite? Like the favorite growing up?
Oh my gosh. I mean,
You can name
there's
3.
I can, like so many, but I mean, I was a huge Motown fan.
Okay.
So like any Temptation stuff, like that was my favorite. I really got into music through like soundtracks.
Yeah.
So like I had the Forrest Gump soundtrack.
Yeah.
And if you listen down to that soundtrack, you've got Aretha Franklin, you've got
History lesson.
yeah, it's a whole history lesson. So like I kind of loved having this historic time capsule of music, and then I would go down these little rabbit holes and realize like, oh, who is Aretha Franklin? And find out a lot about music that way. So I mean, Aretha is probably realistically one of my faves. But I realized that a lot of the music that I listened to, like the bass was the driving force in that. And then I was at a friend's house and I heard, we were listening to Nirvana. And I heard Come As You Are.
Wow.
And I was like, what's that? I think I know what that is. I think I could do that. And my friend was like, no, you can't. The best way to get me to do something is to tell me I can't do it.
Wow.
And I went and I convinced my dad to go halfsies with me.
You're like, it's only 4
bass.
strings, Dad.
It's
It
only
costs
4
less.
strings, right?
Costs less, Dad.
I'll sell my drum kit. And I got a bass, and it came at the time with like an instructional video, like a VHS tape.
Yeah.
And I stayed up all night and I watched the video and I learned how to play a 12-bar blues, and I was like, this is my thing. And there we go, right? It took me a long time to find it. And when I did, I realized like, wow, this is the thing that I absolutely love. And I started playing along to records that I had. Like I had like Disraeli Gears, you know, I was a big fan of Clapton. I was a big B.B. King fan. Like I had all these records and I started just playing along to that stuff and absolutely loved it and realized that that was my path. The other thing is I got the book Standing in the Shadows of Motown and watched the movie. Did you ever see that documentary?
Yes.
Okay, so the thing that I loved about Standing in the Shadows of Motown was that, one, James Jamerson is just the absolute genius who we all try to emulate, you know? But two, the book itself, have you ever seen the book?
I have not seen the book.
So within the book, you have kind of like a history of Motown, and then you have all these different bass players that kind of talk a little bit about how they were influenced by Jamerson.
Yeah.
And then they did a transcription of a song and they played the song. So you would have a piece in the book where, let's say, like Lee Sklar is talking about Jamerson or whatever, or like all these different famous bass players comment with their commentary about how Motown influenced them. And so I was like, wow, like this is an incredible thing.
Yeah.
And the way I'm learning the instrument is through learning about all these other players and learning about Jamerson.
Yeah.
And so when I came up with the idea for Bass Players to Know, it actually started as a column series for No Treble, which is an online bass magazine.
That's so cool.
And so I wrote a column for them called Bass Players to Know. Wow. And so each week I would pick a different bass player and I would say, okay, this is why you should listen to this person. This is the stuff they've done. This is what's unique about their style. And then thankfully my editors there, they were like, listen, you own the copyright to the stuff that you've done, just like you can't publish it on any other like online sources, but do what you want with it. And I was like, wow, what a gift.
Wow.
Right? And they gave me their blessing to like turn it into a book. And so I basically went and took all my columns and edited them down and figured out like the way to kind of organize it. And really that was the inspiration for the book, was like, oh, I've learned so much by listening to players that I wanted to show other people, like, here are the players you should listen to and why.
Right.
I had like certain caveats about the people in my book, which is that like they can't be the big names. They can't be like Paul McCartney is not in the book.
He's not?
No, because you know who he is.
That's true.
And Jocko's not in the book.
What?
Because you know who he is.
Oh, I'm getting ripped off here.
Right.
I'm
So-
totally kidding.
But that's the whole
Is Gene
point.
Simmons in your book?
No.
Come on.
Because you know who he is.
That's true.
So this is the whole point, is to say...
By the way, I'm not like enamored by Gene Simmons. I do think he's a fantastic bass player.
Absolutely.
He plays the songs, and he really does, but go on.
Yeah. But the whole point is the fact that we listen to so many songs on the radio or on records, whatever, and we don't necessarily know who the bass player is.
Right.
So part of this book was trying to give love to the people that don't get all the press.
Right.
And the people that are easy to miss. And so when you learn about these players, you start to see the stream of history within music. And it's very cool.
I opened the book. I didn't know. I just opened it. George Porter Jr.
Ooh.
Absolutely one of my favorites.
My favorite. Like,
Is he your
honestly,
favorite? I knew it. I
You knew it.
I opened it up.
You opened to the right place.
Right to the right place. So who's the worst bass player ever?
Oh my gosh.
I'm just totally kidding. But who's somebody that you met that you melted, like a bass player that you couldn't even believe you were meeting him or her?
Probably Hutch Hutchinson.
Really?
Yes.
What was that like?
So I met him at a NAMM show once, and I don't know if you're familiar with the work that he's done, but he's been in Bonnie Raitt's band for years, and he's played with so many incredible people. But he was somebody that I only knew because I was obsessed with Bonnie Raitt records.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And so I'm at NAMM, and like, you know, most bass players kind of move about the world with anonymity.
Yes, that's true.
Right? Like, most people don't know who we are or what we do.
Who's that guy sleeping on the couch? Oh, that's the bass player.
It's the bass player,
See,
right.
as a drummer, I can make that joke because usually it's about the drummer that's sleeping on the couch. But this is fun.
Well, usually there are two couches.
That's true.
And so...
Yeah, right. It's the drummer that's barely on the small couch. The bass player will take the bigger couch.
We'll take the bigger couch.
And be way more comfortable. And the drummer will be like, well, I guess my legs will hang over this couch and my neck will be broken in the morning. But go on.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, I was at a NAMM show and I
Mm-hmm.
was just checking out a bass, and he walked by and I recognized
Hutch?
him. Yes, Hutch. And thankfully at NAMM, you have like your badge and it has your name.
Yes.
And I saw it and I was like, oh.
Wow.
And he, I'm sure, was like, who is this person and why are they weird?
Yeah.
But to me, I was like, wow, you're that guy
Yeah.
that I've listened to and
Yeah.
learned bass lines and all that stuff. And so that was a person that I met that I was like, wow, I can't believe I got to meet that guy. And he's super nice. We've hung out in the past. I saw him when Bonnie Raitt was in town playing, I guess, last year.
Yeah.
And just super cool. But it was kind of like a special moment to meet a player that you listen to and learn so much from.
Okay. Between me and you,
Yes.
Ryan, is 5-string bass, is that like just cheating?
Okay. Real talk, I love a 5-string bass.
Okay, good. Me too.
I almost exclusively played a 5-string bass for 10 years.
That's great. Of course, I'm kidding. There are a lot of people who are just purists that will play a 4-string and say, you don't need that 5th string and you can play different ways and different tunings and all that. Go on, please.
Okay.
You've played a
so
5-string.
Here's the thing about the 5-string bass.
Please tell us about the 5-string
When
bass.
people say, what's the deal with the 5-string bass?
What's the deal?
The deal is, it's not about the extra notes.
See, thank you. You're so mature.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's not about the extra notes. It's about the feeling of the instrument. And one of the things that I love about the 5-string bass is, I mean, and I grew up playing a 5-string Fender Jazz, and I have a couple Mike Lull basses that are Fender Jazz bodies with different pickups and stuff like that. But the string spacing is a little tighter.
Yes, it is.
So compared to a P bass, which, I mean, I love a P bass. I have many. You saw me playing a P bass style last night. The string spacing is a little tighter, so you can get a little flashy. You can be a little bit more, you know, agile on that kind of instrument. The other thing is, like, with your right hand positioning, as we get really technical now, is that like you can rest on the B string. So I started playing a 5-string because I preferred to kind of like have the closer string spacing and be able to rest my thumb on the B string as opposed to on the pickup. So my right hand was closer to the other strings. My left hand didn't have to work so hard because the string spacing was tighter. I always played a 5-string bass, frankly, until I moved here. I was here for 2 years until I made enough money to buy a 4-string P bass.
Right.
It was really because I liked the feel of the instrument and I liked the kind of tone that I could get. I liked the kind of personality that I could have on the 5-string. But again, it wasn't necessarily so I could play lower notes. It was so that I could have a certain kind of touch and a feel and a technique on the instrument.
Oh, that's great. I never heard it that way. So what about a 7-string bass? That's just ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
Come on. Okay, great.
That is inappropriate.
Fine. I have a few questions. It's my speed round. Are you ready?
Ready.
What fascinates you, Ryan Madora?
Baseball.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. And you're a Phillies fan.
I'm a Phillies fan. I love baseball.
You guys are the worst fans ever. I'm sorry.
Yes, we are.
Yep. You tough motherfuckers. I'll tell you. You guys destroy your own city when your team wins. You're not supposed to destroy your city when the team wins, only when it loses. I'm a Mets fan. We're sad. I'm a Jets fan. We're even sadder. So you love baseball. Yeah, I know. It's disgusting.
I love baseball. I love the game itself. I love the interplay. I love ballparks. Like my husband and I go on trips to visit all the ballparks and they all have a different character.
We do the same.
Oh, cool. It's so fun. And like, I love the carnival atmosphere. I love the pacing and it's like a nice, like chill, slow thing. Like everything else can be going wrong in the world and you can just sit and watch a baseball game.
Isn't that funny? We're from the Northeast. We both are admittedly impatient in our lives, but absolutely love baseball and can sit through a 9-inning game. I don't mind. I don't like the new rules where they put for extra innings to shorten the game, to put the person on second base so that it's quicker to be maybe over with more offense. If it's an 18-inning game, I'm there. Just a few more hot dogs, my blood pressure will go up, but I'll be happier. That's fantastic. Baseball. Yes. What's your favorite park besides your Philadelphia park? What is that? Liberty Park? What is that?
It's Citizens Bank.
Citizens Bank.
The bank. Go to the bank. So my favorite park. Oh, this is tricky. Okay, so earlier this year we went and saw the Mariners in Seattle. Ooh. And that is a gorgeous park for a couple of reasons. One, you have this insane skyline view. Yeah. Like you see Seattle, you see all the ports, like it's gorgeous. Two, I have never seen a fan base so dedicated to kettle corn in my life. There is more kettle corn in and surrounding the area of that ballpark than you would believe. Wow. And the fans love it. So like I love any ballpark where like the fans are really like into the game and like there's a legacy there and like people want to see their team succeed. Yeah. Camden Yards is great. They have a Rita's water ice, which is my favorite thing. I don't know if you're hip to it's a Philly thing. Water ice.
Water. Oh yeah, you say water.
I say water. That's my tell.
Well, I went to camp outside of Philadelphia in Bucks County, Camp Green Lane.
Of course.
For boys, for girls.
My mom went there.
Where happiness counts. Your mom went to Camp Green Lane.
My mom went to Camp Green Lane.
That's great. Jerry Stein just died. The owner of Camp Green Lane just died. Yeah, how sad that is. My wife was afraid for her life when she went to a Mets-Phillies game in Philadelphia. That's just too much.
Well,
they were cruel. They almost killed my wife. Don't kill the visiting team.
You shouldn't wear...
Oh, come on.
Mets. Okay, put it this way. Earlier this year, we went to a Yankees game in New York, and we were wearing our Phillies gear. And thankfully, the Phillies won 12-5. It was the best game I've ever been to.
Wow, good for you. Okay,
thanks.
Good for you. Okay.
Yes.
What pisses you off? What angers you, Ryan Madora? Angers.
Oh my
Ryan.
gosh. Seafood.
Really?
I'm not a seafood person.
Are you allergic to it? Will it kill you?
I don't think so. I just don't like it's fishy and it smells weird. It just, you know what? It's more of an inconvenience than like an anger. I think the things that really frustrate me are like when I know I like want to go out and do something and the weather's bad. I'm frustrated by the rain.
Really?
That's what it is. I know there's nothing we can do about it, but like I love a nice day. I want to go out and explore. And so if it's raining, I'm just like a bummer.
Well, you know what? To be angry at those things, fish and rain, you got a pretty good life. I'll tell you. What brings you joy?
Reading. I'm very much a reader. I love trying to sit and close out the world and try to read. Cooking. I absolutely love cooking and really good food and adventuring. To me, my favorite days are the days when I'm either on the road or on vacation or able to say like, you know what, we're going to go out and find this adventure. So I'm that kind of person that like when I'm at home and I'm in work mode, that's all I do.
Right.
And then when I'm in like go off and do your own thing in adventure mode, that's all I do. Yeah.
Do you ever have an instance where like, we didn't find the damn adventure today and it pisses you off?
Yes, absolutely.
My wife is the same way. We have like competitive adventuring. You know what I mean?
Oh,
We've gone hiking because my wife was let's go on a hike. And if we don't get to the apex, the toppermost of the top, and are afraid for our lives because it's so high, because I'm afraid of heights, she is competitive. We have to get there and do that. And if it's not all that, it's not good enough. I'm like, you know what? This nature is really nice. We can sit right here and have a nice time. Okay, I get you. If you, Ryan, had a magic wand and could fix something, change something to your liking, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. This is going to get big.
Okay.
Which is that I think that a lot of people work really hard in this world and they don't get what they deserve to have the kind of life that they deserve for the amount of hard that they work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I had a magic wand to fix things, I would kind of redistribute the way we live in our society, and the people that do really important jobs get paid for those things because they deserve it. And yes,
I like that.
this can go real deep. I mean, this is kind of coming into like what's going on right now with airlines and stuff like that. You know, people should be paid really well if they keep people safe flying in gigantic airplanes.
Yeah. Of course.
Thousands of people, right?
Yeah.
If I could change things in the world, it would be to make sure that more people that do really important work for the health and safety and well-being of everybody else gets the treatment that they deserve.
Yeah. Even park rangers, right?
Park
Come on.
rangers.
Darn right.
So important.
Right?
Very much a national park enthusiast. And
I thought you were. You
yes.
seem like that to me.
Oh, thank you. You can be in danger when you're out in a park.
Absolutely. I've been in danger out in the park. And
Yeah.
my wife is like, come on, let's go. We got to move forward because we got to get to the top of this thing. I'm like, but this is scary. No, we got to go. We got to go. So I needed the park ranger, and they really saved my life.
Oh, yeah. And especially if you find yourself in a desert park.
That's where I was. And it was scary.
It's scary. You can get lost in the desert.
Yeah.
Right.
She's like, just take a sip of this and let's go. I'm like, Sarah, please, let's find a park ranger. Let's find somebody. But there weren't any because they're not getting paid. So they were off. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, I think medical professionals, policemen, doctors, well, doctors get paid pretty well, I think. But nurses.
Yes. Nurses, teachers. Come on.
Teachers.
Please.
Teachers, I think, are the most important. Like, I think about teachers that I had that had a huge influence on me growing up. And yeah, teachers deserve to be paid very well.
Yes.
So those are the magic wand things that I would fix.
All right. Thank you. The big question now, Ryan Madora, toilet paper, over or under?
Under.
Under. You're the first to ever say under. Wow. Okay.
I think so.
You're like a lunatic, aren't you? You're like a crazy person.
Well, because you can reach under.
I'm joking.
And
you can reach under. Okay. Do you have any cats?
No, I'm
All
allergic.
Right. Okay. All right. Under. I'm speechless. Everybody, listen to me, shaming you for under toilet paper. I'm an over person. I've never heard anybody say they actually will think about it and doing the under. I have gone into people's homes, not just for this purpose, but I have changed the toilet paper around. So I'm the lunatic here and I'm the crazy person, but under. Okay.
Well, I mean, and that also is like, I don't care that much. So I either obsess over things or I'm completely oblivious.
Okay. All right.
So I just said under because I'm pretty sure the last time I replaced a roll of toilet paper, it went under.
All right. You're going to think about this
I'm going to think
now.
about this
Yeah.
now. And if you want to come over to my house and
would
change
love
all the toilet paper to over, you're
That's
welcome
great.
to.
Thank you. Ryan Madora, you have a book out, Bass Players to Know, Learning from the Greats. Where can we find this book? Where can we find you? Give us the commercial for Ryan Madora, bassist, writer, educator, groove master.
The best way to find me is on the internet. I am literally the only Ryan Madora, thankfully, to my parents. You can go to ryanmadora.com, which is my website. You can find me on Instagram and socials. It's Ryan Madora everything, YouTube, Ryan Madora music. Very easy to find, very easy to stalk. You can also get this book at Grimey's. They carry it in the music section of books at Grimey's, which is awesome.
That is so cool.
So you can find it there. They have it at Fanny's. It's on Amazon. You can get autographed copies from me via my website. So it's out there. I'm out there. I'm very easy to find.
Yeah.
And thanks to the internet for making that happen.
Yeah. Well, you are fabulous. You're a wonderful talent and you're a good person. I'm glad to have gotten to know you. Thank you for being on this show, the Just Keep Talking podcast with me, Brother Love, because your story matters. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye. You can personally support this show simply by clicking the tip link in the show notes. The Just Keep Talking podcast is now available on all podcast platforms. Please like, share, and subscribe. Visit our website at justkeeptalking.com, our YouTube channel at Just Keep Talking Podcast, and Instagram at The Just Keep Talking Podcast. We all just want to be seen, to be heard, and to belong. Thank you so much for supporting my mission and the Just Keep Talking Podcast with me, Brother Love, because your story matters.